Hello and welcome to Culture on I-24 News. I'm Glenn Grober. Thank you so much for joining me. Today on our program, we'll have Director Vanessa Lapa in the studio to discuss her new documentary about Heinrich Himmler. And we'll visit the new Museum of the History of Polish Jews in Warsaw. Let's begin with some cultural headlines. Comedian Joan Rivers' funeral took place on Sunday and drew fans and celebrities who came to say goodbye to the star. The service for Rivers, who died on Thursday at the age of 81, was held at New York Temple Immanuel. Among those who came to bid farewell were Kathy Griffin, Sarah Jessica Parker, and Whoopi Goldberg. The crowd of hundreds of invited guests were entertained by funny stories from Rivers' life. Radio host Howard Stern gave a eulogy speaking about her many struggles, saying she did everything on her own terms. And actor Hugh Jackman performed a musical interlude. In her own book, Rivers said about her funeral, "I want paparazzi and I want publicists making a scene. I want it to be Hollywood all the way." It sure seems like she got her wish. And in Toronto, the city's International Film Festival is still going strong. On Friday, the festival celebrated Bill Murray Day by screening some of the actor's best-known films, such as Ghostbusters and Groundhog Day, followed by the premiere of his latest movie, St. Vincent, about an unlikely friendship between a young boy and a misanthropic war veteran. Chris Rock is also doing well in Toronto. His third film as director, Top 5, has sparked a bidding war following a very enthusiastic reception this weekend. The film tells the story of a comedian who tries to make it as a serious actor while his reality TV star fiancé has other ideas. Paramount, Lionsgate, and other studios are currently trying to buy the distribution rights for the film, Paramount being the frontrunner with a $12 million bid, probably the highest we'll see in the festival. The Decent One is a new documentary film that takes a look at the life of Nazi leader Heinrich Himmler, based on previously unseen letters and pictures. The story of the documents themselves is quite remarkable, and thankfully we have Director Vanessa Lapa to tell us all about it right here in the studio. Thanks for coming in, Vanessa.
Thank you.
So first of all, tell me about the film.
The film begins actually when I get a phone call from a professor at the Tel Aviv University, and he said that he was approached by the son of Chaim Rosenthal, and that there is a collection in an apartment in Tel Aviv that was kept there for the last 40 years, and it is the private diaries and letters of Heinrich Himmler, and that he thinks that it may interest me.
I'm gonna guess you couldn't believe your luck at that point, or you were skeptical about even its authenticity.
I don't know. I didn't. I went because it's Professor Laor that called me, and if he calls me, I go. No, I was not thinking about the authenticity, and I was not thinking that I was lucky. At that moment, not at all, no. But I went. I was curious and I went. Yes.
And what did you find?
I found a bunch of diaries and letters and pictures, most of them written in ancient German, so I didn't understand what the content of it was. And the first thing we did was to make sure they were authentic. We authentified them with the National German Archives and the Holocaust Museum in Washington. And after that, I decided that I will pick up the challenge. And I started the journey, the research. For a year and a half, I tried to find out how the documents came from the house of Himmler in 1945, where they were stolen by American soldiers, to the apartment of Chaim Rosenthal in Tel Aviv. This remains something we will never know for sure. All the people are dead. Rosenthal never shared the secret with us. What is sure is that starting in 1960, it is with Chaim Rosenthal. So after a year and a half of trying to find out how they got there, I realized that there may be a bigger story or a more interesting story. And then we started to transcribe the content of the collection and then to translate it. And slowly but surely we realized that there is a bigger story, and we started to write a script.
Mm-hmm.
We completed we were completing all along the script with research worldwide.
And what did you find in the letters, in the pictures?
I found a man that is perverted from beginning to the end, where there is no moral code at all, where there is no difference between good and bad, no shame, no guilt, there is nothing except violence and hatred and perversion. And I was the more I read what he was writing, the more I was shocked and amazed by what I was reading, what
right.
a man like this is able to write.
Because you were reading what? Were you only reading descriptions of violence and killing?
No, because I was reading something that I can identify with, that is seemingly normal.
Mm-hmm.
But the subtext was always very, very violent. I didn't find a character, there is no Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde here.
There is one person.
One person who is profoundly obsessed, perverted, murderous, with no moral code at all. And even in his seemingly normal love letters, the letters to his daughter, the letters to his soldiers, the letters to his mistress, there will always be the sentence that reflects who he really is.
I see. I'm curious, the reactions to the film, are they, do you think that message comes across, or do people think, actually, this is a complicated man. This is a man that I can see from different angles, and I would see different things.
I don't think that people say it is a complicated man. I think that what is complicated for the audience is the film. The film is complicated.
Okay.
Because unlike historic documentary films, we don't use interviews and we don't use a narrator.
Right, only with the materials that you have.
Exactly, only with the materials and with actors who are reading the content of the letters, because the protagonists are dead.
Why did you choose to go that way?
I didn't have a choice. If they were alive, I would have taken the real characters.
No, I mean, but not using any historical materials or anything like that.
Because I first of all, I was lucky enough to realize, and here is where the luck you spoke about in the beginning comes, to have a story that I need to choose what to take out. So there was a lot. Mm-hmm. I had enough of material to write a story without adding explanation, and it gave us the opportunity to make a documentary film that is combining fiction elements in order to make the viewer feel with and think with and be part of the experience, and not be guided by a historian, a Holocaust survivor, or a narrator that tells him what to think.
Of course. Well, Vanessa, it certainly looks like a unique film, no doubt about that. Thank you so much for coming in, telling us about it.
Thank you.
Now, in Warsaw, the Museum of the History of Polish Jews is set to unveil its permanent exhibition honoring a 1,000-year history of Jewish presence in Poland. David Gombin and Pazit Dank went out there to bring us a glimpse of this special place.
We are in the neighborhood of Murano, in the heart of central Warsaw, the Polish capital. This area was made famous due to tragic reasons. It was the site of the Jewish ghetto during World War II. The place was completely destroyed, and today only a war memorial remains, a sculpture by Nathan Rappaport erected in 1948. But from the ashes of the ghetto also rose this very modern building, a building that breaks away from the architecture of the Soviet era, the Museum of the History of Polish Jews. It is brand new and has a powerful symbolic value.
Our museum is a tribute to those Jews who perished during the Holocaust by showing how they lived.
The 4,000 square meters of exhibition space include 8 galleries. The exhibition has been designed as a narrative. The purpose is to tell the story of the lives of Jews in Poland from medieval times to the present, a history of Jewish life more than 1,000 years old. Among the treasures displayed, this replica of the Gwoździec synagogue, often called the Sistine Chapel of the Jewish world.
These wooden synagogues are among the most beautiful expressions of what I would call a Polish-Jewish symbiosis. We recovered the knowledge of how to build one by building it, using 300 volunteers and experts.
The design of the museum was the subject of an international competition. The winner was Finnish architect Rainer Mahlamaki, who wanted to create a strong symbolic place. The word Polin, which means Poland in Hebrew, is written across the whole exterior. This canopy is the largest in the country.
The light is one of the key features of the building, so it represents the ideas of transparency, transfluency, and being open to all kinds of people from all continents, all cultures, and also being open and ready to deal with all kinds of questions.
The total cost, about 40 million euros and 4 years of work.
Outside the building is quite simple, almost a straight box, not much higher than the buildings around. So again, we are focusing on our neighbors who are living here for many years, so we don't want to interrupt or change their lives too much.
And what about the neighbors? How did they perceive the new museum? To find out, we went out to ask them. It seems that the adjacent park was quickly adopted by the neighbors, who came to stroll and to enjoy the Polish summer.
The place is really original. The architecture fits to the area, and I love the inside. It looks like an open sea inside. It's an integrated portion of the neighborhood.
The changes are enormous. A few years ago, this place was very wild. The people were walking around, but it was not as organized as now. Thanks to the museum, they've renovated the space, they planted trees, and now it feels much safer.
For integration purposes, the museum does not just plant trees. It also forms a connection with its neighbors by inviting them to get involved in historical research.
The place is very alive now. They organize movie festivals to educate. There is also an exhibition dedicated to the neighborhood of the district Murano, where people who live here brought their own pictures, their private photos from 30 to 50 years ago, and added it to the collection here.
The grand opening of this permanent exhibition is scheduled for October the 28th. The museum has already succeeded in being adopted by its neighbors at Murano. The futuristic building of the Museum of History of the Jews in Warsaw will try to reconcile the past with the future.
Before we leave you today, here are some cultural events from around the world.
The Victoria and Albert Museum presents a retrospective on Horst, photographer of style, an exhibition of more than 250 photographs from 60 years of career, focusing on tailoring, and it is staged in near darkness. Much of the exhibition focuses on the golden age of couture, with focus on Paris in the 1930s. The display is staged in dramatic near darkness with black and white photographs spotlit against inky walls. Horst passed away in 1999 and is regarded as one of the 20th century's masters of photography. Dog, the man's best friend, or photographer's best friend. Anyway, this four-legged animal is the inspiration of 15 international artists. Sakura Gallery in Bercy Village features 70 photographs. Dogs of all in any kind and photographed in all sorts of circumstances. In costumes, joking, playing, dogs are the stars of this exhibition in a fun and fanciful way until November the 4th. Hell is the exhibition of the work of Yoram Kupermitz, 2 sets of screens captures manipulated and modified so that the images are in contradiction. But when viewed and displayed side by side, they complement each other to bring the viewer into a world of horror, taking a picture of a frozen reality fragmented and reinforced 2 very different wars, the First World War and the recent war in Gaza. The exhibition considers the concept of photogenic aspects of the tragedy. The exhibition will run until October the 25th.
There's always something to see. That's it from us for today. Thank you so much for joining us. You can find our past shows on our website, i24news.tv. We're also on Facebook and on Twitter. You can follow us wherever you'd like. And please join us again tomorrow for another edition. Bye-bye.